Well, hello, Darcy. We're back here again for another recap preview, all in one bundled together here, part of sARL Racing this year. Great to have you back here in our home studios.
Yeah, it's good to be back again, Corey. It's good to have a look back, and we'll have a chat about how round one went.
It was an interesting round, wasn't it, Darcy? We had a mixture of weather, mixture of various bikes new to people. So some were on track, some were having to take a break. So a lot to talk about this from this round.
Yeah, there wasn't ones that seemed to come along with new bikes that there weren't some issues. Like you said, the weather played a big role in it, especially for Sunday, where it was so wet and wild, and it made for an interesting day.
Yeah, the good thing we'll talk more about Sunday. The good thing was that it stayed wet the whole day at least. That was the good part about Sunday. Wasn't that in between weather that we all know racers dread to see.
Well, listen, if it's going to be nice, be nice. If it's going to rain, then pour.
Mm, definitely. All right, Darcy, you ready? We'll hop right into this points.
Sure.
All right, up here we have the way you can go see points here at sRL, anyone that's maybe new to racing, you can see all the races are here online, and this is through Speedhive. So if you were to go to speedhive.mylaps.com and in the search bar look up sRL, you'll see all the championship standings along with the races from each round. Darcy, I say we start off with the Nova Drilling Catch 22.
Sure. Sounds good.
The first thing I'm going to point out, Darcy, is how quickly I just went, and there's four riders in this Catch 22
It
class.
was
But
weird. Again, weather. People not knowing what the weather was going to be like, I think helped people for back from maybe registering a little bit, or even registering and then not actually going out on track. Saturday was still a very nice day, so but they may have opted to not come for the weekend just based on what the weather was supposed to be like for the weekend, right? So low numbers for a couple of the races, but we made the numbers, and we were able to have a full race for every class, which was good to at least accomplish.
yeah, here with the Nova Drilling Catch 22, last year, 22 so riders minimum almost. It was 22 plus every year. So I was quite surprised to see this. And as I was up in the tower, I got talking with Kelsey. I believe it was Kelsey there. We're chatting. And maybe with everyone, the whole purpose of this class is to allow riders that are new to get in there, then they advance and move on. Maybe a lot of the riders have moved on from the 22 lap time and are now doing 20s or maybe 19s. Did,
Well, there was a number of folks that got kicked out at the end of last year, right? Kicked out being the goal of this class, anyways. So yeah, there was a few that moved on. They had hit the marks and moved on. William Martin being right there. I know at the end of the season, he I think for one of the races he went down under. So, and it was touch and go. I think for this round. So it'll be interesting to see how long William stays in this class.
I think this is going to be his last round. If I was actually quite surprised because the racers that were there, we know, or even the family that was home, they were having issues. There was an update that happened with the race live timing, so race monitor wasn't working. The speed hive thankfully was, but it was kind of spotty there, showing up, refreshing up there in the tower. And through this whole race, I thought William did break out because we seen that he had to start from the back because he did break down in the qualifying. But just not having that carrot in front of him, it looks like, allowed him to stay just back from those 22s.
Yep, just under, or just above, I should say, just above the 22. So yeah, I suspect that William won't be playing too long in this pool, anyways.
And I think you're right as well with the weather leading up to this. There was a chance of rain a weekend. It was spotty, and you'll see maybe new riders maybe elect not to have their first weekend at the track. So I have a feeling you're correct there as well for the numbers, maybe a little bit lower when they see maybe their first round might be a wet one. They may wait. All right, moving on from there, we're going to go to race number 2, which is the Good Robot Brewing Company Amateur Sport Bike. This one here had a few more numbers in it and a few more battles. Right down to the line. Three-way battle there between Keegan Campbell, as we can see, who was the leader. New rider, Darcy, Andy Hutchinson, making his way onto the podium, and Michael Scott there finishing in third.
Yeah, it was great to watch. Another fun race to watch. Like you said, battling through the whole way. And Keegan and Andy. I mean, Keegan started last year. Got a couple races under his belt, but Andy Hutchinson there, he's completely new. So, and if I remember correctly, he had a very good weekend, especially come. Sunday in the rain, he had a very good weekend. So good to see. It's good to see new bikes coming out, new people coming out, and you know getting that podium right off the bat is nice.
One interesting thing here, if I scroll up a little bit, we'll see the name right here. Bailey Ives sitting there was the fastest lap. Unfortunately, it was his second and only lap that he was able to do. Sitting there at the bottom, but he was a contender right off the bat. But unfortunately, had that mechanical with the SV 650, which I was just chatting with him there before we came online here. He believes everything's ready to go with this machinery, and because Bailey will be competing in CSBK, which we'll talk a little bit more later on in this broadcast. But Bailey Ives unfortunately wasn't able to finish this race, and he pulled off from the lead.
Yes, well, that's a new bike to Bailey. SV 650, I believe, is what he's
Yes, it
running.
is. Yes.
So yeah, so new bike to him, getting it sorted out. I knew he had a couple issues there during the weekend, so yeah, I'm sure we'll see more of Bailey throughout the season as it progresses.
All right, from there we'll move on to race 3 of the Saturday racing, which is the Pro Cycle Sport Pro Sport Bike. 6 riders elected to go out. Well, I should say it was 8, but a couple riders not being able to make the distance. But it was the new to this class, John Fraser, able right from the get go, right from the start line, held it for the win.
Yeah, it was not surprising to see John pull out and see him run so well on that GSXR. So I think as the summer goes along, they'll get that dialed in a little bit more to him because I know it's a loaner bike, I believe, for him for running this year in that class. So once they get it dialed in and set up to him, it's going to be some interesting running. You'll notice that Blaze wasn't in this round. So we'll be interested to see how that shakes out once Blaze gets back into this one.
Yeah, that was the talk of the town, that Blaise Fouchier running that Kawasaki there at the track the weekend before. I did had a chance to talk with Blaze about that, and he elected not to go. He's elected not to run the 600 because of the work he wants to put into the Superbike program. So he said he's elected to just continue with the
Okay.
vintage
And Superbike.
and Superbike.
Okay.
Sorry, not vintage. He's in the
Yep.
yes, yes,
Vintage and
vintage.
Sportsman, isn't it?
Yes, Sportsman. Yes, that's it. Mario Richard had a slow start, made his way all the way back. I believe it was to fifth, but worked his way up quickly. Adapted. It was cold this day, and that's the trouble, that you're working off that winter rust, as we call it as racers. To anyone that's not a racer, it's more about calibrating your eyes. You're not used to the speeds. Walking around, sitting on your couch, you don't get up to 170 miles per hour. So you got to calibrate your eyes, get the rust out of there. And it seemed like Mario Richard was able to quickly regroup after a poor start, and as you can see, they're finishing in second.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
good to see Mario back after Mario took some time off, a little bit of time off last year there. So good to see him come back, and again come back with a podium is always a good way to start the season.
yeah, we see there Brad Bork, new to the pro grid. Great to see those amateurs stepping up and getting that podium position right off the bat. He was quick right out of the gate.
Yeah, they were. It was a quick race. It was fast. We've got Brad and Chris and Kristen all moving up to the pro class here. So it's going to once everybody gets their feet under them and, like you said, gets the rust off, it's going to it'll start heating up as the summer goes along.
Yeah, we can see Greg. Not sure what happened with Greg in this one. I can't. Um, I believe I can't. I'll have to check that for next time. I can't remember what happened to Greg. He definitely didn't go down. I just can't remember what the mechanical failure was with Greg. With Fernando, it was unfortunately a fog mask. He couldn't. Whenever you have these cooler temperatures, what can happen for the visor is the hot breath comes up, fogs up the mask, and that's what kept happening, the visor. So he couldn't see, and it just kept getting worse. He kept popping it up, and it just wasn't safe for him, so he pulled off. So that was Fernando's there.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on Saturday, and I remember Fernando coming in and saying that was the reason. It just kind of, perks our ears up a little bit. The rest of us that are getting ready to go out after that, so we're aware of it. Unfortunate for him, but it's nice for everybody else to be a little bit more aware that it's happening.
Yeah, it's unfortunate all the work that you put into it, and he had the double visor as well, so he did do the precautions, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. All right, the fourth race of Saturday was the MC Consultants Formula 46. This one here was a very exciting race. Lots of action, lots of battling. And if we look here at the gaps here, we can see there was a couple of battles here happening with Phil Warnell took the lead and ran away with it, 10 seconds off. But battle for second and third between the two teammates there in the pits, Matt Covey and Jason Rideout, and then yourself, Darcy, with a big battle with Jason or Jonathan Anderson, sorry, for fourth and fifth.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun in that race, battling back and forth, and same with Stephanie. Stephanie was right there with us for a number of laps, and then we gapped her a little tiny bit, but not by much. She's always close. That Stephanie. You never know when she's going to pop through.
Yeah, we can see here Stephanie Holman on the RS 125 battling with Dwayne Finley, opting to ride the Kawasaki 400 this year, only 3/10 of a second across the line. So you can see pockets of battling here, which is the funnest there when you're out on the track, hey, Darcy.
Yeah, Dwayne came out strong on that little 400 too. Wasn't sure how that was going to play out for him. I know he was anxious to get on it and try it and see how it was going to run. And I think as the season goes on, when we get to the 400 races, we'll see how involved he actually is and how quickly he's getting up to speed on that little bike.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Maybe one last note we'll mention is Jack Rubavowski there on that unfortunate tip off in turn 11. Right in front of the tower. I happened to be watching. It was the very first lap. He was fast off the gate, and he would have been giving Phil Warnell a run for his money, but unfortunately had the front end wash out. And fortunately, the bike only made one rotation and came down, so it was just a little bit of cracked fairings by the look of it. And the rider was up and okay, and he ended up finishing only 2 laps down. But not a way to start the season, Darcy.
Yeah, no, not a great way to start the season. Again, Jack's getting that bike dialed in and trying to figure out how that's going to run and stuff. And yeah, I was right behind him when he went off there, and all I could think of was no, not the Kramer. So it
Such a
was
beautiful bike.
it was too bad, but it's racing. It's going to happen. It's happened to all of us. I'm sure Jack will be back strong for round two with her again.
All right, next one up is the Finish Line Motorcycle Supply Pro Superbike, race one of the weekend. And taking the win, John Fraser, 13.8 seconds ahead, Darcy. This one here was a bit of a dominant fashion here. You can see lap times almost down to the minute nines. He right from the get go. Uh, he did have um, a restart with this one, I believe. Oh, that was Sunday. Sorry.
I was on Sunday. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So right off the bat, John Fraser with this one, he was checked out. Was curious to see if it was going to be another battle between Blaise Fougier and Corey Canfield. But to no prevail, as we can see, this one here, everyone gapped everyone in this race. If we're looking at
yeah.
the
It was kind of
differentials
spread out
over
that
here,
one, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah. So this one here, I think I talked a lot about CSBK. The next one, Albums Plumbing and Heating Amateur Superbike Race 1. This one here, the crowd favorite Michael Scott taking his first win at AMP.
I was surprised that this was his first win. I didn't suspect that. I would have thought that he would have one of those under his belt by now. But good to see again somebody else getting that first win and getting that opportunity to have that flag lap, and just it's a good fun moment for the riders when they get these.
Definitely. And then the rider we are talking about earlier, Andy Hutchinson, another great race. Very consistent this round, which not to harp on new people, but you tend not to see this consistency right off the bat. You have to work through the kinks of your program, learning the sport. So there tends to be maybe a little bit more hiccups in a rookie season. But Andy Hutchinson had a great Saturday to start off his weekend.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, normally, you spend some time figuring out how things work, and just even your on track, off track, and getting everything ready for your pits and getting ready and getting going. Yeah, no, great weekend for Andy. Good to see.
And then Paul Clark there making up the podium. And the last race of the day was the lightweight 400 expert and amateur class. As we can see, a large amount of people entering this class. Look at this here, Darcy. That down to Tony Martin, unfortunately, didn't start the weekend, but 21 riders between those two categories, which is the Mark Ennis Ostrich lightweight 400 amateurs and the Grant Nesbitt Tribute Series 400 experts.
Big grid. This one's always a big grid, and lots of close racing through the whole thing. So it's yeah, no, this was a good fun race.
I think the notable name there on top, Gary McKinnon. Um, he's new to AMP, Darcy. So in his rookie season here, another rider. No, I'm kidding. Uh, Gary McKinnon, good to have him back. He was focusing on CSBK, so we didn't get to see Gary very often. I think it was only the endurance race he rode last year. So he started off where he left off on the podium, and in this case, taking the win.
Yeah, I mean, Gary knows the track like the back of his hand. Actually, probably better than the back of his hand at this point. So yeah, it was great to. We weren't sure if we were going to see Gary this year, or if he was just going to be focusing on CSBK, or what the plan was. So it was good to see. It's good to see Gary back, and him and Mark back fighting it out up at the front there.
That was a battle right from the get go. And as we can see, with Mark with the fastest lap by 3/10 of a second. So the two of them were battling it out there. It was a great race to commentate. In third, Matt Covey having a rough weekend. He pulled off there with a mechanical. It was able to fix it, get it back going again. But unfortunately, Darcy, it's one of those gremlins that you just don't know what's wrong. All of a sudden, it's working fine. Bike cuts out. You think you fixed it. You come back out. It didn't. The worst mechanical ones to have.
We've all been there. Chasing some gremlin that's running around inside the bike somewhere and not knowing exactly what it is. There's nothing more frustrating when you're at the track and you're trying to run laps and there's something happening and you just can't figure it out.
Mm. Hopefully he gets that figured out before round two.
I'm
Uh,
sure he'll have it tore apart and back together.
On to the amateurs. That's another first time winner here at AMP I shouldn't make that statement. I'm assuming it's her first win here at AMP. I gotta do my fact checks before I start this. But Kathleen Coburn, first win on the new machinery. How about we say that, Darcy?
There you go. Yeah, she's out on the 400 this year, and I have to say, at one point during qualifying, she flew past me, and I didn't even know who it was. Different suit, different bike. Wasn't sure who it was, and it wasn't until I got right back up on her back again before I realized who it was. So yeah, no, she had a Kathleen had a great weekend on the bike. It was good to see.
And Ryder in second there, William Fonsavan. Great weekend for him as well. Finishing second, and then Scott Conley there finishing third. Look at that battle between the two of them. Another great one up there. I was commentating this one a bit. A lot of battles there, but you can see across the line a little under 2/10 of a second between
Yeah,
Conley and
and
Scott.
William Martin right there in behind them too. William and Craig, both of them moving up from the 250 class. Craig on a 400 and William on an R3. So it was good to see. It was good to see them still battling it out. They duked it out all last year on the 250 class. So they two of them picked up right where they left off.
It's good to point out, Darcy, what you were just saying there about how close those riders are. And if we look at the lap times, really it's a second separating those five riders. So with the season just starting and every rider starts, some start fast, some start need a weekend to get kind of climatized to the track racing again. But to have that many riders there, it's going to be one hell of a season.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how the amateur and the pro 400 shape up as time goes.
Right, Darcy, that makes up the Saturday racing. Moving on to this Sunday, which starts off with the sportsman category, the CSBK Bridgestone CSBK Sportsman. Blaise Fougier,
Oh, I think that's
is that the qualifying?
yeah, that's qualifying court.
All right.
Go down race one there, no drilling.
Yeah, we'll hop by. These three here are all qualifying. We start those off with 10-minute sessions and we'll hop right in. For time permitting, we'd go through every event, but we'll go right into the racing. And here, now this, we can see the lap times are going to be noticeably different from Saturdays, and that's because of the rain.
Yep, the great equalizer. It started raining, and that changes everything. There's some guys who may not have wets, or ladies, sorry, that may not have wets, so they may not be able to go out in the race. Some opt to not go out in the rain and don't want to chance anything with the bike. So you never know when that rain starts coming down. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, every rider has got a different story to tell, and when it comes to rain racing, some opt to just park the bike, eh, Darcy?
Yeah, yeah.
So with this one, William Martin, we can see definitely adapted to the rain. The quickest out of those riders, 25 seconds ahead of Angus McLarty, followed by Jim Marlowe taking his first podium.
Oh, nice. That was the first podium for Jim as well.
Hmm.
Very good.
All right, next was the Asylum Racing Vintage Open, and this was one of my favorite races to call of the day. The battle between, well, first I'll get to that in a second, but Blaise Fougier The runaway favorite there, 32.9 seconds ahead of Phil Warnell.
Yeah, Blaze just got on. He checked out. He hopped on that big bike and away he went. So that I think none of us were too surprised about that for this round with the rain and everything happening.
The battle I was mentioning, and there's a video on YouTube that Pat Patterson dubbed over the recording. It was this battle for third and fourth between himself and Jonathan Head. Right from the get go, the two of them were battling back and forth. I'm sure it must have been 15 passes between the two of them. And it was an exciting race to watch.
It was exciting race, and even in the rain, there was a bunch of people out on pit lane watching the race to see who was going to be in the lead coming up over 11, and who was going to have the drag down the front straight to see if they can hold on to it. It was fun to watch. It was a great race. They were really battling hard. Those two. They must have been having a blast inside those helmets.
And you can hear in the video at the end, minus the curse words from Pat Patterson, but he looked at Jonathan Head, went on the cool down lap, and it was like, yes, insert explicit words.
Good fun.
Next is the Stephanie Napier RMT Formula Femme. This one here, Darcy, a little surprised. I expected Stephanie Holman to be a little bit closer to Kristen Whitehead in this race, but we were talking about qualifying before. Kristen Whitehead on the last lap. It was almost like they were beside each other or in a pack on the track for qualifying, and she played that chess move and waited to the last lap to pull off pole position by like something like a hundredth of a second or a tenth of a second. But then come race time, I was expecting it to be a battle right from the get go, just like the previous one we talked about. But she checked out, and Stephanie just didn't seem to get her legs underneath her.
Yeah, again, that rain, it can play tricks with your head, and just I don't know if that was the issue or not with Stephanie, but it could have been just an off weekend for her or an off race. Those things happen to all of us. It's good to see a new participant, Marina Taylor out there. I think she was on R6, I believe, and this was her first race. She had done the school last weekend, or the weekend before, sorry, and she wanted to give a hand at racing, so it was good to see her out there. She did well.
Yeah, every lap she was seemed to be taking chunks off her lap time. What you want to see as a rider, or see from riders, you want to see them making that progression, getting comfortable, and she definitely got very comfortable. By the end, you can see two almost 1.3 seconds ahead of what could have been a podium for her. So maybe we'll see what happens here as the year transpires.
And again, to be out there doing it in the rain for your first race, that's not bad.
Definitely, definitely. Uh, One more comment about the Stephanie Holman. We've seen from the post that she had on Facebook at her better weekend. She seemed to be understood herself that it wasn't her weekend this weekend, as you mentioned as well, riders we have the off rounds, and there's some tough ones to swallow sometimes because you put all that effort in the off season leading up to it, and sometimes when it just doesn't hit the mark, you just go back to the drawing board, and I'm sure she will be right on her back wheel, or Kristen on her back wheel come round two.
I have no doubt.
The next race is the Markins Ostrich Amateur 400 and the Grant Nesbitt Tribute Expert, race number 2 of the weekend. Darcy, there's a different name on the top this time.
There is Mark Goodwin. Gary opted to not run in the rain on Sunday. He decided to park it and save himself for CSBK. So it was, we like to see him out, but completely understand why he would do that. Why Chance putting the bike down the week before the national event coming in. He doesn't want to do that. He's defending his championship, so he doesn't need to be out messing around with us out in the rain.
Yeah, maybe he could use that track time. Don't want to talk too much about weather because I'm sure we're going to talk about it a lot later on. But maybe that could have been some beneficial track time. But yeah. So with Gary gone, Mark, I don't know. Maybe in his mind, did he think he was going to check out? But no, there was a pesky R3 on his tail for a good part of this race, and that was you, Darcy, putting up a great fight. Great to see from the tower. You were um, in a dogfight for a while there. Then he got away from you. Maybe you got out of the draft, and the last few laps there, he was able to pull away from you.
Yeah, I did what I could to hold on for as long as I could, but Mark is so consistent. There's no errors, there's no mistakes, and I was going into two, and I messed up and he gapped me coming out of two. And after that, there was just no getting him back. But it was good to be in behind him for a few laps, just to see how he runs his race. I haven't been that close to Mark on the track like that before, so it's good to tuck in behind them and just watch, learn how the pros do it and how they run their races and stuff. There's always something to learn, and I learned a lot from Mark. I'm not going to tell him what I learned, but I learned a lot from Mark watching him for that race for the first few laps.
And then Greg McInnes made himself onto the podium. Another great battle between him and William Martin. This time, Greg McInnes able to hold off. Uh, but that was for the win for the amateurs. As we can see here, the two amateurs up here, third and fourth on the track, but third and fourth, first and second, sorry, of their categories.
Yeah, yeah. Again, two of them moving up from the 200 class, both on different bikes. William had run the R3 before, but not for a lot of laps. So for the two of them to come out, in the rain and laying down 123s was pretty impressive. And right behind them was Scott Campbell, who took third in this one on the CF Moto 450. Again, new bike to Scott, moving up from the 250 class. Built the CF Moto this winter, and he's still trying, sorting it out, figuring out what's what. And I was up having a few chats with him, and he was, suspension and getting a suspension dialed in and making sure that everything's where it wants to be and how he wants the bike to be set up. So it'll take a couple rounds, but I suspect that we'll see more of Scott battling up there at the top as well.
Yeah, I was talking to Scott as well in the pits, and he said he made a big leap forward from Saturday to Sunday. So that's the kind of chunks you like to get in race weekends, from one race to the next, and not let too much linger between rounds or between races of one round. You like to leave knowing that you've made a significant improvement, and it's good to hear that he did, and you can see there finishing third. All right, next is the CS Bridgestone CSBK Sportsman. We can see there with Blaise Fougier checking out there. Phil Warnell in second, followed by Chris McRae in third. This one here, that I believe it was close between Phil Warnell and Chris McRae, if my memory serves me correctly, for a little bit. But then Phil Warnell, as you can see, got 4 seconds on Chris McRae, able to hold off there for second.
Yeah, again, I mean, at this point, it was raining pretty hard in the weekend. And staying on track was just the goal, I think, for a lot of people at this point. So small grid, but they got the race in, and that's what was important. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more closeness in this one come next round.
All right, next is the Pro Cycle Pro Sport Bike. Second race of the weekend. This one here, seen John Fraser, 22.5 seconds ahead of Mario Richard. Another dominant race for John Fraser in the wet. He seems to enjoy the rain compared to some of the other riders. He just seems to like it doesn't phase him, Darcy, and he just keeps sticking with the program and clicking out the laps.
Yeah, I think with John, it's just head down and go. Watching them out there and how they run their program and stuff, it's pretty, it's professional level stuff, and it's impressive to watch. Yeah, John was just head down, do the work, get the laps in, and it shows with being out 22 seconds in front. I believe this was the one that there was some good battles going on with Chris and Brad, I think, throughout this race, if I remember correctly, Corey. So good to see, those guys battling it out here.
Yeah, it's hard to see this is across the line, but yes, they were definitely, if memory serves me correctly, battling it out, and that's all you can hope for whenever you get to the track is have some good clean fun, and they definitely put on a show for us out there, Darcy. Right, the next is the Good Robot Brewing Amateur Sport Bike. Another familiar name that we're getting used to saying, Andy Hutchinson. Now, this was his first win. The other ones were on the podium, but this time Darcy was able to make that lap you were talking about previously.
Yeah, it was good to see. He came in, and I was down there when he got ready to go out for his flag lap, and you don't realize what's supposed to happen when you get there, and when you get the offer to take that flag, go out, and it's a little bit confusing at first, but then you're like, oh, okay, I understand this now. This is for me. So great to see again. First weekend out racing, and to get your first win, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good win. Michael Scott there in third. It made for a fun podium there at the end there when the awards were handing out. But yeah, good racing. Good to see Andy up there.
And the Morgan Taylor, new rider, just to see two brand new riders out on a podium. I in the racing that I've been there at this level, I don't know if I see that.
Yeah, I don't recall. But again, out in the rain doing it too,
Yes,
right? Like this
definitely.
was,
Yep.
it was the conditions were not ideal. So to be out there and pushing and to start getting those laps is good to see.
All right, the next is the THB Safety Consultants Limited Thunder Race. Another two familiar names on the top, and also familiar battle that happened. Bigger gap this time, though, Darcy, between you and Mark Goodwin.
Yeah, it was good. Off the line for me, I had a great shot off the line, and managed to keep Mark behind me. I think for maybe half a lap. It was fun. Again, the rain was coming down pretty good at this point. I had a big off last year in the rain, if you remember, Corey, and so I was a little bit leery about going out in the rain for Sunday, but you kind of push that away, and just feel out the track as you go, and where you can push and where you can't. And again, tuck in behind Mark and just watch him and learn from him as he's going and where he's pushing and where he's not, and just try and keep an eye on things. And that's all you can do, and just bring it home upright.
If that serves me, my memory serves me correctly, Darcy, that was coming out of turn three, back end stepped out. You were in a battle with someone as well, weren't you?
Stephanie and I are having a great battle throughout that whole race. We were battling back and forth, but at the same time closing in on Matt Covey. And I had just gotten Steph, and yeah, coming out of three, she slipped, she caught, and then she slipped again and just threw me over the handlebars.
Mm. Good to see you walk away from that one. In third, we got William Savon, two podiums on the weekend. Great to see. William, big, well known at the track for helping us all out with our with the decals from all the riders with the company that he runs and supports us there. So great to see William able to make it on the podium.
Yeah, I was talking with William the other night. I was down at his place, and he was pretty stoked for getting two podiums last weekend there and coming away with that. So he was, yeah, he was quite happy.
All right, the second last race is the Finish Line Motorcycle Supply Pros Superbike. John Fraser. This one here is the one I was talking about before. I was trying to remember which one Blaze got him on the line, and it was this one that Blaze ended up getting the lead right off the bat. But unfortunately, we had to do a restart, and that was due to Fernando going over the handlebars in turn 11. Did a bit of break dancing into the dirt, and I can kind of joke about it now, but at the time it was kind of serious because it was right in front of our tower, and thankfully Fernando was able to get up and walk into the safety vehicle, and no um, um, what's the right word? No long lasting effects
Yeah, yeah. I was
from
chatting with him
Fernando.
for a little bit afterwards there with Fernando, and yeah, he lost it and sent it flying, and but he thankfully he was okay. He got checked out, made sure everything was all right, and as you said, nothing long lasting, which is good. Unfortunate. He's put in a lot of work trying to get used to that big bike. You don't want to see him balling it up going over turn 11. But hopefully he'll get things sorted and he'll be able to come back.
Yeah, in second we had Blaise Fougier and then Corey Canfield. If we look at the gaps here, we can see that Chris McRae was actually closer to the leader than Corey Canfield. That there was a penalty issued to Chris McRae, a turn 7 incident where he made an inside move into passing Corey Canfield, but unfortunately slid up the track in the move, and they deemed it to be not a safe pass. And Corey Canfield was able, post race, able to see himself on the podium.
Okay.
And the last one is the Albums Plumbing and Heating Amateur Superbike. Again, Darcy, a familiar name on top, Mr. Andy Hutchinson. First win of the Everett AMP, followed by his second.
Yeah, double weekend for him. That's impressive. Again, first weekend, you can't complain about that. And if I remember correctly, again at this point, it was almost a downpour when these guys were getting ready to go out after the short delay for the previous race, and it was getting pretty late in the day at this point. So it was the rain was coming down fairly good, if I remember correctly. So it
Yeah, if
was
we look at the lap times here, a minute 26, and just to see the difference in the racing between the two, the trying to find the amateur sport bike, yeah, just 4 races or 3 races in between the two, and the lap times you can see significantly off.
yeah.
4 seconds is quite a bit difference. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a big change.
but the interesting thing on the podiums, Michael Scott had amazing, great things to say about Andy Hutchinson. Wished him very well. Was excited to see that a rookie, first time ever being here, got their win. Michael Scott really showing the rookie his
It was
sentiments.
a warm welcome. It was a
Yes,
warm
very
welcome.
warm, very
Yeah,
warm welcome.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, Darcy. With that, that ends the recap, at least for points. The next thing up, that concludes round one. The next thing here at AMP is going to be CSBK, Darcy.
Yeah, Corey, we're the big guys are coming to town this weekend. Their annual pilgrimage to AMP. It's a favorite with the racers all across the country. They love coming down to the East Coast and checking out the track, riding the roller coaster, and having a good time on and off the track. Hopefully, things hold out well for them. There's no sense in looking at the weather right now because it's the weather. It's going to change, and we all know AMP is in its own little strange vortex where you never know what's going to be happening there. So you'll just drive yourself nuts if you sit there looking at weather apps all week.
Yeah, definitely. There, we've seen it on posts on Facebook already, talking about Saturday and Sunday. And I like Andy Hill's approach. Wake up in the morning and look out, and it'll tell you what the weather is supposed to be like
Just look up.
until you get in your car. Then it'll
Yeah,
change again.
yeah.
I think,
There you
or he
go.
said till you get dressed, that it's
Yeah.
going to change again.
And that's how it was last year out there. Like I remember being out there last year, and you just there was rain, and then it was sunny and hot, and then all of a sudden it would start raining again, and it just you don't know what's going to happen until it's happening. So that's what well, that's what they're going to be in for. So we'll see what happens minute by minute, hour by hour.
So, Darcy, I've seen your post as well that you were looking to see who was running. You were making posters and everything. How many local riders so far uh, do we know are going to make it up for CSPK?
That's a good question. I haven't gone back and looked to see what the total numbers are, but it's looking like we're going to have a pretty healthy contingent of
Nice.
bikes. A lot of guys are throwing up their hands saying, "Okay, I'm going to give it a whirl," which is good to see. It's a fun experience. It's you get out there on track, and there's a greater amount of fans around the track when you're going down into turn two, when you've got people lined up on the hill and you can see them coming out of two up over turn three. It makes for a really fun experience on track. Yeah, it's a great experience. It's something that everybody in the club should try it.
One rider that wasn't there round one, Mark Wilson. He's going to show up, I hear.
Yes, yes. From what I understand, he and Polly are both going to participate this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're going to be running. Both of them have their 400s. They're going to be running in the lightweight class. There's them in the lightweight class, and who else?
Dwayne Finley as well.
Dwayne Finley's
He's
going to be
excited.
running in the lightweight class. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
We got
uh,
Chris McRae. He's going to be riding in the amateur sport bike.
yep.
Bailey Ives in the twins class.
Twins Cup.
We
Yep.
got Gary McKinnon. We got John Frazier. And these are just the ones we know. Like, so there's could be some other local ones as well that even maybe not have responded back to yourself. But like you said, great to see, and they're going to pack up there by pack them in by the restrooms up at the top, which is another a fun thing at CSBK. Everyone kind of has their own little group up there, so everyone can have their favorite beverage come 5 o'clock, Darcy, and hang up there by the fires.
Yeah, exactly. It's when we pack in for our own weekends, we've got the full paddock to ourselves, and we're spread out, and we fill up, and everybody's filled in between. The numbers obviously, they go down for locals running this, but we get our area up there, and everybody moves in on I think Wednesday night. I think everybody is to move in, and again, it makes for a fun atmosphere. You're parked up next to people that you don't normally park up next to. Spending that time together with them for the weekend, and somebody you may not normally spend the weekend with, it makes for some interesting conversations for sure.
All right, with that, Darcy, we're gonna call or an evening, but for anyone that wants to get tickets, you probably heard it on the radio. I've heard them on Surge and Q104, Pro Cycle. There's also there's on Thursday is the trying to remember the name shine
Show and shine and
show and
fast
shines,
bikes.
right?
Show and
Yep.
shine.
So that's all the top riders are going to be there. Also, for the local riders, that's when we can do our track day. Or if anyone that's running CSBK, there's the track day Thursday. But myself
Yeah, it's
and
just for
Frank,
anybody who's running CSBK. It's not an open track day.
yes, good to clarify that, Darcy, just so I don't steer anyone wrong. All of a sudden, Chad gets a bunch of emails wanting to partake. But yes, just as Darcy said, it's just for riders. But yeah, there's gonna be Frank and I up in the tower this year, bringing you the action. So if you have not got in the past, I would highly recommend getting there and supporting our national round. But Darcy, until we meet again, the lights are out here.
We're gonna miss you for round two. You're away.
Oh, we didn't need to bring that up, Darcy.
We'll see you when you get back. We'll catch up and we'll get all the news.
All right. Good luck in round two.
Thank you, sir.